is going full throttle for gold. And the thumbnail says that there's rumors, because it's only rumors. I haven't seen any official story, but there's an old saying about there being no smoke without fire. And this came out yesterday. It says Andy McGuire, from his sources, China increased in June amount of assets insurance companies can invest into gold from 1% announced in February to 2% now. That's 25% of the global mine supply, with possible increase to 10% in 2026. Well, that's the reason why I said it was a rumor, because we don't know, but I think it could be very bullish for gold, because there's talk now that gold is had like a triple top or a quadruple top here in dollar terms. This purple mauve line is the dollar price of gold, right? And some people are saying it's a triple, quadruple top, and the market's going to drop. And the reason I'm comparing to the Japanese yen in gold is that we've had many of these, like here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and eventually the dollar, the price of gold goes up in yen. You had one here. I guess you had one here in dollars as well, and then it went up. So, and I think the Japanese yen is like a harbinger for all fiat currencies. And if we, let's see, go back to, let's say 2008, which is an important date, gold is up 427% in yen and 288 in dollars. So I think there's room for upside in the dollar in terms of the price of gold in dollars. Wonder what you think and what's happening now with the price of gold in dollars. I think the stock market is going to go up quite a lot. The dollar is going to go up versus the euro. I think gold and silver might be hit because of this win by Trump against the EU. But I'm not so sure about the future, because the stock market is in a melt-up phase, as we've spoken before. I saw, Clive, before you came on, I was talking about a post on X from the White House. I follow it because you need to know what they're thinking. And it said that everything's great. The stock market is at all-time highs. Small businesses are booming. We won against Europe in the trade war. And then I thought to myself, so why do you need such deep rate cuts if everything's great? That doesn't add up. And maybe also this deal with the EU, and also, did you hear that they've frozen the deadline for the Chinese tariffs for another 90 days? And I think they've done that because China has the rare earths card. But to me, that might put pressure on Powell to cut rates, because the White House can argue, well, there are no tariffs right now. We've delayed it for 90 days on China. Go ahead and cut rates. I think that's the strategy there. First thing they've got, basically, after general, is gold certificate account, page 12. So this, to me, it shows that for the Fed, that their most important asset is gold, really. They've got it right at the top. I guess not really gold, it's certificates, but I'll show you where it is. So here we go. The Secretary of the Treasury is authorized to issue gold certificates to the reserve banks to monetize gold held by the Treasury. At any time, Treasury may require the gold certificates to by demonetizing the gold. Treasury.
Okay, can we stop there for a second, Mario? So that's exactly what I said in the video I did a couple of days ago, that the Treasury will reacquire the gold certificates, firstly, and then secondly, they'll reissue them at a new price, a much higher price, i.e. they'll put the price of the gold up, and they'll give them back to the Yeah, back they'll give them back to the Fed basically at a new price, and that's basically what the word I used to remonetize gold. And obviously,
Yeah.
Mr. Bessent is going to do it as well. Sorry, Mary, you just carry on from that. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No, that's all
I
right.
was so surprised to see that. That's amazing.
That's basically they're explaining what you've explained months ago. We've talked about this, so maybe they listened to our video and they said maybe we need to do this, or I don't know. But it's just the procedures that they have to go through, and each of the gold certificates are issued to each 12 regional banks. I guess the Federal Reserve Bank of New York being the biggest one, gets the most certificates, and the smaller ones gets the least. But yeah, I mean, if they, like you said before, if they revalue to 15,000, the Treasury would get four trillion in Federal Reserve credit or notes. But I guess if they were to revalue it to 20,000, they'll get about 5 trillion, and 20,000 would be, I think 40,000 would be about 10 trillion. That's what the Italian guy that I spoke with last week was. He thinks it could be any number really, and that what that would do, Clive, and you probably are aware of this already, is that it would provide liquidity to the Treasury without taking on any debt. Yeah, I think it's important. The more a country has in gold reserves per population, the better. I think it is. I think Portugal is one of the countries that has the biggest gold reserves as a percentage of foreign reserves. They got 84% of their foreign reserves in gold. I'm not sure. Yeah, and I think they've got about 400 tons, which doesn't sound much, but it's a small country. Switzerland has quite a bit of gold, even though they sold half of it. So yeah, I think it's important. Canada, as a country, doesn't, but individuals have gold as well. Like in India, I think the population has loads of gold. Has it helped India? I guess partly, but India is still a very how can I say? There's still a lot of inequality there. There's a 200 million, 300 million or something middle class, but the rest are really dirt poor in India. So it depends as well. Just having the gold doesn't mean to say the country is good.
Increase the amount of money they've got to spend. They can reduce their debt. They can keep all of their gold, and they don't. Their debt will go down instead of up. So the only question is, at what level do they decide to revalue gold? Should it be today's market price, which in my opinion is way too low? Should it be at 3 times or 4 times or 5 times the market price? I think that would be a very good level to try, but it could be a lot more. But there's a lot of arguments for and against each level, and I did my maths on, and it wasn't back of the envelope maths. I spent quite a long time figuring out what I would do if I was Scott Bessent, and I came to the correct figure being 15,000. But 20,000 wouldn't be a wrong number.
Yeah.
And of course, there are people who say it should be 150,000 because that would be enough to pay off the entire national debt. They can start again at zero. If USA does revalue gold, they've got to value it at a high enough price so that gold flows into the US Treasury. That's what they need. So they need to put the price up, and that's why I came to 15,000, not 10,000. Put the price at a certain level, because at 15,000 there'll be plenty of sellers to the Treasury and going to be gathering in all the gold. Meanwhile, China, which has been buying gold every month at the very low price of 3,000, 3,500, with the dollars they've got, will find that for the same dollars they only get 1/5 of the amount of gold. So we can argue about how much China's got secretly gold stashed away. We don't know the answer. There's a lot of arguments they've got some secret gold hidden away. But in terms of being able to buy more at a low price, they won't be able to. So if America goes in with a big number, they're going to basically win the war on getting the gold. And they'll annoy or irritate their arch enemy, if you like, in a certain sense, China, because